Considered to be the next phase in human evolution, mutants within the Marvel Cinematic Universe have developed mutations in their genes that will allow them to naturally possess superpowers. Today we will be diving into the story of one such mutant, Wolverine. We will be using the storyline which unfolded in the comic books to assess his origin story and the events that lead up to him joining the X-Men. Wolverine was in fact born under the name James Howlett and was the son of a wealthy plantation owner. A key figure in the childhood of James was his groundskeeper, Thomas Logan, with whom it is hinted that James's mother was having an affair. James's father then expels Thomas and his son from their manor on the pretense of violent behavior, but Thomas returns to rob the Howletts and wanted to elope with James's mother. In the altercation that followed, Thomas killed James's father, and it is at this point that young James Howlett's powers are first manifested as claws protrude from his hands and he kills Thomas Logan. Years after being kidnapped by what are known as agents of the Weapon X program, Abraham Cornelius begins to examine James, who has taken the name Logan, and discovers that he is a mutant. It is then that they bond his bones and claws with the indestructible adamantium metal in an attempt to turn him into the perfect weapon. Proving too difficult to contain, Logan escapes from the facility and then for a brief time enlists his services to the Canadian government. But after receiving an invitation from Professor X of the X-Men, he decides to quit Canadian intelligence and become a part of the famous superhero group. There is more to Wolverine than just his retractable metal claws though. He also has accelerated regenerative healing, enhanced physical capabilities, and refined senses. He is one of the most prominent members of the X-Men and portrays the character of the archetypal anti-hero in comic books. Keeping up with the X-Men timeline can be a pretty difficult task, but if you narrow the focus just to Wolverine, you see that it's pretty straightforward. From the origin story we got of him in 2009's X-Men Origins, we see how Wolverine's abilities first manifested, and after killing Logan he runs away with his brother, Victor Creed, who also shares the same healing powers and strength as him. This mutation causes them both to age significantly slower and allows them to take part in the biggest wars and battles that took place over the next 100 years. In 2013's The Wolverine, he is trapped in a Japanese prisoner of war camp in 1945, and while he is there, he saves the life of a prominent Japanese officer from the bombing of Nagasaki, an event that will play an important part in his future. Around 1962, Professor X and Magneto team up to take down Nazi mutant Sebastian Shaw, who is gathering his entourage of dangerous mutants. To counteract this, Professor X and Magneto venture out to find and recruit their own set of superpowered mutants to create the first class of X-Men. Not everyone is eager to join up though. When Eric and Charles walk into a bar to enlist the help of a cigar-smoking James Howlett, he turns down their offer. After not applying for the X-Men, Wolverine and his brother once again find themselves in the clutches of battle, except this time they are fighting Vietnamese guerrilla warriors during the Vietnam War. After a series of events leads to the duo's execution by firing squad, their miraculous survival catches the eye of Major William Stryker, who enlists them for his Black Ops team of mutants, which he termed as Team X. At this point, James takes on the name of Logan, the man that he had so callously killed as a child. Hema and his brother continued being the mercenaries for Team X until Logan realized that he could not stomach the team's very brutal disdain for human life, and so decided to quit the team, and in doing so also had a falling out with his brother, Victor Creed. For the next several years, Logan works as a lumberjack in the Canadian wilderness until he is found by Stryker once more, this time with business slightly more personal. It turns out that his brother had gone rogue and had killed Logan's girlfriend, Kayla Silverfox. Enraged by this, he decides to undergo an experimental procedure that was to be carried out by the weapon Project X. This would fuse an unbreakable metal known as adamantium with his body. Given Logan's regenerative healing, he managed to survive the fusion process. Stryker had no intention of letting Logan go free, but he managed to escape nonetheless and discovered that Stryker and Victor had been capturing young mutants to fight for their cause. Logan doesn't take this lightly and is determined to exact his revenge. The young mutants are flown to safety by Charles Xavier, while Logan and Victor fight first against each other and then both of them against Deadpool. Once Wade is defeated, Victor leaves, but before Logan has the chance to do the same, he is shot by Stryker in the head with an adamantium bullet. He survives being shot but develops retrograde amnesia, being completely unable to recall who he was and how he got there. The only thing that gave him a bit of direction were his dog tags, which had the name Wolverine branded on them. And thus began the tale of Wolverine and how he went on to become a founding and prominent member of the X-Men. Wolverine's story is a long and arduous one, and the latter half of his story revolves around his dealings with the X-Men and his continued conflict with General Stryker. But that's a story for another day. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider subscribing to the channel, and for more content like this, keep it at KRTV.